It's where you need to be. Of course, we got another excellent topic, excellent show. You know what I mean? Kundalini versus Innerchi. Kundalini versus Innerchi. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, man. Royal day, royal afternoon, royal night, whatever it is in your perspective areas. Cosmic mind, you be. You know what I mean? It's where you need to be. Sacred space is rocking out tonight. Empress star, or whenever she pop out through here. You know what I mean? Sacred space topic: mothers versus women with children. We got Who You With Wednesdays this week, co-host of that as well. So just, y'all come through and see what's going on and see what's flowing on. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and make sure you donate. So other than that, I'm gonna go out and share real quick, and then we're gonna get through this. And we might have a bonus show today, as well as Sacred Space. So, alright, peace and abundance. All right, I'm not gonna share it out to too many. Whoever get it, they get it when they see it. If they checking for me like that, then they'll know it's new content. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just gotta let people find out when they find out. When they rocking with me like that, the notifications will be on in it. So, all right. Here's a clear breakdown of Kundalini versus Innerchi, so you can see where they overlap, where they differ, and why both matter depending on the tradition or practice you follow. Origins and philosophy. Kundalini, rooted in Hinduism and Tantric yoga traditions, seen as latent spiritual energy at the base of the spine, often symbolized as a coiled serpent. Awakening Kundalini is considered a spiritual rebirth leading to higher consciousness. Innerchi comes from Taoist philosophy and traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, considered the life force energy flowing throughout the body via energy channels meridians. Cultivating chi is about balancing the and strengthening life energy for health, vitality, and longevity. Energy nature. Kundalini equals dormant, potent spiritual energy. Awakening is intense, transformative, and can be disruptive if unprepared. Innerchi, constantly flowing life energy, can be built, stored, and directed at will through cultivation and practices. Kundalini yoga, especially Kundalini yoga. We'll probably do a show about that to see you da 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 da. Breath work, pranayama, meditation, and mantras. Sometimes spontaneous awakening through trauma, near-death experiences, or deep devotion. Innerchi, Tai Chi, Taoist meditation, breathing exercises like Datanian breathing. Purpose and benefits. Kundalini, spiritual awakening, higher consciousness, mystical experiences, psychic abilities, deep intuition. Innerchi, physical health and vitality, emotional balance, longevity, and resilience. Risk and considerations. Kundalini can cause emotional upheaval, physical discomfort, or mental instability if awakened too fast. Kundalini syndrome, quote unquote. So we got to do a goddamn show on that, I'm going to think. And part 2, 3. Requires guidance and grounding practices. Innerchi, generally safer. Risks come mainly from improper breathing or over exaggeration in advanced practices. Still benefits from guidance for precious and precise and efficiency. Key differences approach. Kundalini equals awaken the hidden spiritual powerhouse and ascend, quote unquote. Innerchi, nurture and balance the life force to thrive, end quote. Quick analogy: if your body is a temple, chi is the electricity keeping everything running day to day, while Kundalini is like a hidden generator that, when activated, can power the temple into entirely new dimensions. However, if switched on suddenly, it can blow the circuits. Alright, you want this part? Alright. Who you be hearing next? It'll be a brief show. Who you be hearing next? It's gonna be a brief show. We're gonna be in and out of here today. Empress Star, take you far no matter where you are. She's getting prepared for Sacred Space tonight. That's gonna be excellent. Mothers versus women with children. We'll see what comes out of that. And yeah, so just give me un momento and we can get you right. Alright? Sit tight.
We're back. It's Empress Star here to take you far. Give you part 2 of the show. We're talking about the Kundalini versus the Innerchi and how it relates to us spiritually, historically, and in a modern healing context. Number 1, ancient African roots of energy concept. Kundalini in Africa. Before it became widely known through India, the serpent energy concept existed in ancient Kemet, which is Egypt. The Uraeus or cobra on Pharaoh's crown represents awakened divine energy rising up the spine to the brain, similar to Kundalini. African spiritual systems often spoke of Sekhem energy, which is parallel to Kundalini. Innerchi in Africa. Many West and Central African traditions have energy concepts similar to chi or ki. In Yoruban tradition, Ache is the vital force that animates all life, very similar to chi. In Bantu and other traditions, life energy is linked to breath, rhythm, and the ancestral spirit flow. And that brings us to reclaiming lost knowledge. Colonization, slavery, and forced religion disconnected many melanated communities from ancestral energy practice. Rediscovering Kundalini and Innerchi is part of reconnecting with the body's sacred technology, something that was traditionally known and used by African healers, warriors, and shamans, as well as those Americans, Black, Brown, and Indigenous Coppertone Americans, people indigenous to the Americas, also used Kundalini or Chi. Healing and intergenerational trauma. Kundalini for melanated people can awaken deep inner power and release emotional wounds buried in the subconscious, helpful for healing the inherited trauma of slavery, racism, and systematic oppression. Awakening can restore a sense of divine identity and spiritual sovereignty. Innerchi for melanated people strengthens resilience, health, and balance in a world where stress and systematic pressure disproportionately affect Black communities. It builds energetic armor against draining environments. Why does both of these things matter now? Because the Kundalini restores the spiritual throne, reconnecting melanated people to ancestral divinity and cosmic purpose, while Innerchi maintains the day-to-day power supply, keeping health, vitality, and focus strong enough to thrive. Together, they form a full-spectrum empowerment system, one for inner transformation, one for daily energy mastery. A few practical examples are Black martial artists, healers, and dancers already tap into Chi unconsciously through movement, rhythm, and breath. Melanated spiritual leaders, prophets, and mystics often experience spontaneous Kundalini-like awakenings during prayer, trance, or drumming rituals. In short, melanated people learning Kundalini and Innerchi is not about borrowing foreign traditions. It's about remembering ancient African sciences of energy that traveled across cultures and were preserved in different forms. Mastering both is a pathway to reclaiming power, health, and spiritual freedom. So, what are the differences and benefits of knowing both? Here's the difference and benefits of knowing both Kundalini and Innerchi, especially from a melanated perspective, where reclaiming ancient energy sciences can be both healing and empowering. All right, so let's talk about the core difference. The aspect or the origin of the Kundalini is from ancient Africa, Sekhem refined in India. Innerchi, it comes from ancient Africa, which is known as Aceh, and it was refined in China. The main purpose of the Kundalini is for spiritual awakening and transformation. The main purpose for Innerchi is for vitality, health, and balanced living. The energy state of the Kundalini is dormant until awakened, which is better known as the coiled serpent. The energy state of the Innerchi is flowing but can be weak or blocked. The primary focus of the Kundalini is expanding consciousness and higher states of being. Primary focus of the Innerchi is strengthening and circulating your life force. The risk level of the Kundalini can be intense or destabilizing if unprepared. So if you're not healed mentally, emotionally, the Kundalini is helping you to heal spiritually. But if you're not healed emotionally, you got a lot of traumas that you still haven't dealt with. For you to explore your Kundalini or have it rise, you could have a psychosis or psychotic break if you don't know how to deal with the energy that will be flowing through your body. With the Innerchi, it's generally safe. The pathways right. The pathway for the Kundalini is through the spinal column, through Shuma Nadi. That means it goes up the base of the spine. And with Innerchi, the energy meridians are channels and Dantian centers. So the benefits to know are both a full spectrum of empowerment. The Kundalini opens the gate to higher dimensions of self, ancestral wisdom, and cosmic awareness. Innerchi keeps your physical and mental vessel strong to handle those higher energies without burnout. And then it's healing on multiple levels. The Kundalini can release emotional ancestral blockages buried deep in the subconscious. Those things that you might not even be aware of. Once you release the Kundalini, it'll help remove all of those blockages. Innerchi restores physical resilience and balances stress, making daily life smoother. Which brings us to protection from modern stress and systematic pressure. Innerchi training strengthens your nervous system and immunity, which is vital in environments where health disparities exist. Kundalini awakening strengthens your inner authority and spiritual protection, helping resist mental and spiritual manipulation. Which brings us to reconnecting to ancestral practices. Studying both reconnects you to African energy sciences that traveled into other cultures but originated in African spiritual traditions. It helps reverse cultural amnesia caused by slavery, colonization, and forced religious conversion. The balance of heaven and earth energies. Kundalini, which is called the heaven energy rising, is connection to the divine, while Innerchi, which is the earth energy flowing, is connection to life and body. Together they prevent imbalance, too much spiritual fire without grounding, or too much earthly strength without vision. Kundalini is the rocket that launches you into the higher consciousness, while Innerchi is the fuel system that keeps you alive, balanced, and stable during the journey. Knowing the both means you're not just woke, you're powered and protected. So here's a conclusion and overview of the Kundalini versus the Innerchi for our melanated community. Kundalini and Innerchi are two powerful yet distinct energy systems that, when understood together, offer us a complete blueprint for spiritual and physical empowerment. Kundalini is a dormant spiritual powerhouse rooted in ancient African Sekhem traditions and carried through Indian yogic systems that when awakened, expands consciousness, reconnects you to divine ancestry, and activates deep transformation. Energy is the living force mirrored in African concepts like Ache that circulates constantly, sustaining health, emotional stability, and everyday vitality. Did you want to say something? Oh, okay, okay. So, for Black, melanated, copper tone, and indigenous people, reclaiming both is not about adopting foreign philosophies, but about remembering ancient sciences that originated in Africa, traveled globally, and now return as tools for liberation and healing. So basically, I feel like all of our sciences had to be shipped out and put into other areas because it was being whitewashed so much, and our history was taken away from us. So it had to be put in different areas. So once this great awakening started, we would still have the resources to go back to. So knowing both means you have ancestral wounds while strengthening your body and mind. You heal ancestral wounds while strengthening your body and mind. Knowing both means you balance heavenly ascension with earthly grounding, preventing burnout or imbalance. Knowing both means you gain both spiritual sovereignty and physical resilience, crucial in overcoming systematic stress and reclaiming cultural power. In essence, Kundalini is the spark of divine remembrance. Energy is the breath and daily strength. Together, they restore the full structure of your ancestral power, mind, body, and spirit, in a world that benefits you when you forget it. Wow, do you have anything to say real quick?
Well, I mean, we said this was gonna be brief, you know. So we do have Sacred Space coming tonight, coming through, or this evening, or whatever have you, whatever time Empress Star prefers to jump out there. Topic is mothers versus women with children. If Black people as a collective begin actively cultivating both Kundalini and energy, the shift would be massive spiritually, mentally, physically, and culturally. Bust down. Spiritual awakening on the mass scale. Kundalini activation would reconnect millions of ancestral wisdom, cosmic, there go that word again, ain't it, man? Knowledge and spiritual sovereignty that predates colonial religions. A unified awareness would grow that we are creators, not just survivors, reframing our identity from oppressed to empowered. Suppressed psychic abilities, deep intuition, and visionary leadership would emerge naturally. Excuse me. Physical and mental resilience and achieve cultivation would strengthen bodies, immune systems, and mental clarity, countering the health disparities and chronic stress plaguing Black communities. Energy would circulate more efficiently, meaning less fatigue, depression, and quote-unquote burnout from systemic pressure. Physically strong, spiritually awakened population becomes far harder to manipulate and oppress. Culturally, unity and collective power, shared energy practices would create a cultural renaissance, reviving drumming, dancing, breathing rituals, martial arts, and sacred movement. Communities could heal generational trauma faster, creating less division and more collective strategy. Leadership would rise from within, guided by ancestral connection rather than external systems. Economic creative explosion with heightened energy and focused creativity would skyrocket in business, art, and science and technology. Self-healing communities would reduce reliance on exploitative medical and corporate systems. A spiritually grounded people would be less likely to fall for economic traps like wasteful spending or cultural exploitation. Threat to oppressive systems that thrive on black disconnection, mentally, spiritually, and physically would lose control. A people who can self-heal, self-sustain, and spiritually see through deception become nearly impossible to enslave mentally or economically again. In short, when black people fully activate Kundalini, quote, awakening divine memory, end quote, and Innerchi, quote, sustaining daily power, end quote, it triggers a renaissance of the soul and the body. It's not just individual transformation, it's ignition of a global shift, because fully awakened, energized black collective would influence the balance of the entire earth plane. Alright, y'all? So hopefully right here, this was something that, was it just a little something, unfamiliar to you or familiar to you? And if it was familiar to you, we expounded on it. So again, make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you donate, make sure you are here when Empress Star come through. Sacred space, all in your face. Mothers versus women with children. Who you with Wednesdays coming up this Wednesday. You have anything else from Empress Star? Guess what? Cozmik UV.